Hello again everyone, Edwin Leonard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about Venus square or opposition the North Node in a natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the aspects in a natal chart. They were a little bit concise. Some people may have referred to them as snappy, so what I decided to do is make another series on them in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up is if you have Venus square or opposite the North Node in a natal chart, one way it may manifest could be having difficulty in terms of loving and enjoying, which is Venus, one's future, which is the North Node. Now, if the North Node, let's say it's in the zodiac sign Cancer, that future may be tied in just simply with matters with home, family, introversion. It may be doing things that are nostalgic, getting in touch with ancestry, one's roots, traditions. It could be a Cancerian related field or profession, such as home renovation or remodeling, real estate, interior decoration, home caregiving, cooking, culinary work, as some examples. Now also too, there also may be issues in terms of making the money, which is Venus, associated with one's mission and purpose, which is the North Node. Now, if you have, and let's say, the North Node is in Taurus, that mission and purpose, may be tied in, with, you could be doing something Taurus related, which would include gardening, cultivation, agriculture, architecture, banking, finance. It could be working as a stockbroker or pawnbroker, doing something with art or music, as some examples. And the thing too is, if you have one of these aspects in your natal chart, it may also be hard to value, which is Venus, in terms of what you're destined, which is the North Node, for. Now, the thing is, if it's hard to value something, it can make it less enjoyable, and there may be less, motivation and incentive regarding it. So, if you have the North Node in Aquarius, as an example, what you may be destined for, it could be, humanitarian, altruistic endeavors. It may be doing something like an Aquarius-related field, such as astrology, astronomy, computers, electronics, innovation, aviation. It could be electronics, computers, doing something, associated, even rocket science, meteorology in some cases. And the thing too is, it could also be, the development of the, positive attributes that are connected with the North Node position may not be beneficial to one's self-worth. And what this could just mean is, it's not that, the North Node is what one is supposed to be pursuing, but the thing is, it's just not, as far as matters with self-worth, it may be harder to be attaining the objectives in connection with the North Node to help matters with the self-worth as well, or it could be issues with one's self-worth may conflict with trying in the attempt to develop the positive attributes of the North Node, whether it's a confidence thing or what have you. And the thing is, now let's say if the North Node is in Pisces, as an example, those positive attributes connected with the North Node one may be trying to develop may be associated, it could be with being sacrificing, forgiving, compassionate, altruistic, being able to see the whole picture in something, and using one's intuition, being more intuitive, and really the thing about this too is, if you have Venus square or opposite the North Node in a natal chart, another way it may manifest, it could be following the direction where you feel you're directed to, which is the North Node, may conflict with artistic endeavors, if you have an affinity, artistic endeavors connected with Venus. Now, if you have some interest or affinity for art. Now, let's say if Venus is in Pisces, as an example, artistic endeavors, maybe connected with abstract, fantasy, fictional art. It may be art associated with the sea or boats. Venus, let's say Venus in Leo could be very, flamboyant art. It could be art, that's connected with, entertainment, or, that's very captivating and eye-catching, as some examples. And, Venus is in Aquarius, say, could be artwork that is very innovative, ingenious, unorthodox. So, the next thing about Venus square or opposite the North Node in a natal chart is that the relationships, which can include important friends, which is Venus, may not be in agreement with what you're learning and aspiring to be, which is the North Node. Now, if the North Node is in Capricorn, as an example, it could be simply about becoming more structured, disciplined, serious, consistent, developing, business acumen. It may be doing something, more Capricorn related, something with, construction or architecture, or, building, doing something, with politics. It could be about being more politically, minded, so to speak. And it could be too, if there's any issues, say with the neck, the throat, the thyroid, kidneys, or lower back, which is Venus, it may cause more of a conflict in terms of the objectives you're trying to attain with the North Node than most people. Now, let's say, if you have the North Node in Sagittarius, those objectives may be tied in with simply expanding horizons, being more optimistic, targeting one viewpoint. It may be doing something Sagittarius related, whether it could be publishing, advertising, printing press operation, something with foreign travel, sports, the outdoors, camping. It could be, working as a college teacher, as some examples. And another thing about these aspects is that it could be difficult, for the talents and abilities, which is Venus, to benefit, the North Node, what you're trying to attain with the North Node placement. Because the things that you may, that you feel that you have that ability for, the talent for, which is Venus, may not be, working with the North Node energy. It doesn't mean you couldn't attain what's connected with the North Node, but in terms of saying, incorporating the talents and abilities, or the things that you like to express connected with your talents and abilities, which is Venus, may not be, are not in harmony for whatever reason with the North Node, placement. Now, let's say, if Venus is in Gemini, talents and abilities may simply be multitasking, diversifying. The thing is, it could be doing something with manual dexterity, which can include auto or refrigeration mechanics, things that require eloquence, communication, assimilating information. It's like if you had the Venus in Gemini opposing the North Node in Sagittarius, as an example. Gemini is about diversification and, doing manifold things. But you have the Sagittarius energy, which is more about targeting one thing. So that's, as an example, where you would have that conflict. Now, also, too, it may be hard to balance artistic endeavors, which is Venus, in terms of what you're moving toward, which is the North Node. Now, let's say if the North Node is in Scorpio, as an example. What you're moving toward may be connected with matters of power, control, support, or doing something in a Scorpio related field, which can include locksmithing, psychology, the occult, which includes astrology, forensics, investigation as some examples. And also too, finding the peace, which is Venus, may be in conflict with what you're trying to obtain or achieve, which is the North Node. And it could be that there may be issues regarding attaining peace, which is causing distraction in terms of what you're trying to achieve, with the North Node position. And let's say if the North Node is in Libra as an example, what you're trying to achieve, it may be something connected with the law, whether you're trying to be an attorney or a judge or paralegal, or some other Libra position such as a diplomat, or working in arbitration, negotiation, art, which can include drawing, painting, and sculpting as some examples. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Larnard saying, stay well.